Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be covering some very cool LARP gear. On the top you'll notice is a Block II M4A1 FSP clone, and on the bottom is also a Block II FSP clone. That is an FSP. The one on the top is not real. It is a GHK M4A1 FSP gas blowback rifle. The one on the bottom is real. That is my LMT FSP-ish clone, I guess you could say. And today I'm just going to be kind of doing a comparison between some of the appearances, the coloring, some of the attachments, its functionality, its purpose behind why I bought it in the first place, and just kind of some cool features that you may find relevant. So the first thing I'm going to do is cover both rifles really quick, starting off with my real build. So the build is a LMT. It's sitting on an LMT lower. The upper is a real Colt SOCOM issued Block II upper. And I'll just cover some of the attachments real quick just so we get that out of the way, starting from the rear to the front. On the back is going to be your B5 SOP mod stock. Enhanced. It's not the actual full LMT styled SOP mod stock. This is actually sleeked down just a little bit, kind of a minor difference. The grip is actually a LMT. That LMT makes that Hoke style grip. Mags, PMags, of course. For the bolt carrier group, I went with a ALG Defense. It is a subsidiary group. Actually, his wife owns it, of Geisley, and so far it's been excellent. Just right above that is the EOTech. It's a EOTech EXPS 3-0. I think I'll end up probably changing it to a -2. I just like it for ballistic purposes so I can get the most out of my barrel. Moving on down is the Surefire M95 2V. That is one of their latest M95 2Vs with the vampire head. Also excellent mounting system. I really love that light. Just above that is the pressure switch you see for that, which is a Surefire pressure switch. Kind of low profile, a little bit out of the way. I very jankly kind of taped up the cord for wire management. Just below that is a BCM hand stop. I kind of like the slim profile on the hand stops, just because I really like to kind of thumb over bore behind the A-sight. And then last but not least is the Surefire FH556-212A. I actually really enjoy that flash hider compared to the 4-prong or the 3-prong. I think the harmonics are just a little bit better in terms of what you're hearing out of a flash hider. And you can still put a RC556 suppressor on that. I believe that was the right thing to say. And then, of course, the rear sight, almost forgot that is a MA Tech rear sight. So that just pretty much covers the real build. And now for the LARP GAT. This is a GHK M4A1 FSP, and it is completely stock at the moment. I have no upgrades, no internal configurations that would enhance it in any way. I plan on running it completely stock for as long as possible, and then debating on what kind of performance needs I might need in the future as far as Airsoft goes. So from the rear to the front, once again, that is a SOP mod style stock as well. That's a black one that is actually more relatable to a real Block II series clone with the battery compartments in the back, unlike the B5. That is an old A2 style hand grip. Right next to that is a PMag style G5 GHK mag, very expensive mags. Right above that, there is no bolt carrier group enhancements at all. It is completely stock once again. And right above that, you can see the salmon colored mismatched EOTech. I got that off eBay. And moving on down the line is actually it's an Insight replica pressure switch, which normally would be attached to an M3X or MX3 maybe, old style light, but instead it is going to be a Wasden series WMX 200, and that is attached to a LA5C replica as well. both Wasden made. As far as I know, I don't know if Wasden is a subsidiary of Element or FMA. If it is, I'll go ahead and annotate that. Other than that, we have the flash hider, which is your old style CAC bird cage, and that wraps it up for the GHK. So, why the BB gun? Well, I'm going to be kind of covering some of those aspects, as well as my buying experience, the appearance, the coloring, the attachments, the feel, and the functionality, of course, as well as any other cross-platform questions people might have when it comes to buying and using an airsoft gas blowback rifle. Now, I am not going to be covering the GHK extensively. I want to kind of annotate that right now, make that a disclaimer. If you guys want to check out GHK's and all the technical aspects of that, I really recommend going over to Bada Bing and visiting his channel. He covers a plethora of gas blowback rifles, as well as GHK's, the latest variants, what they have to offer, and their technical specs. But this is sheerly going to be covering what is this and how is this like this. So if you guys have any other technical questions, I'll go ahead and provide that link in the description. Feel free to check that out. So the question is why? Why a gas blowback rifle? Well, the easy answer is that it simulates a real rifle. In my opinion, the best when it comes to airsoft. You have real capacity mags, a moving bolt carrier group, the build quality and the finish is extremely realistic, and some of the scaling is also extremely realistic. So I went ahead and went with a gas blowback rifle, and so far I gotta say I'm extremely impressed with this build. Everywhere from color to the functionality itself and performance. So what is kind of the purpose behind this? Again, I'm a LARPer, so if I'm going to LARP, I want to have fun with it. I'm not really too impressed with, faster rate of fires or tons of consistency. When I LARP, I do it mostly for radio purposes and to, just kind of have fun with it. So that is the purpose behind building a rifle that I can kind of be like, you know what? This is fun, and it also looks really, really good. So just a short disclaimer. My buying experience with this rifle. I got this from Red Wolf Airsoft, I want to say about a month ago, and it took just about a month, call it 3 weeks, to get here. Just a heads up for anyone that is buying gas blowback rifles from Red Wolf or from China at all, including magazines and other gas blowback related attachments and accessories. Now, there have been US custom horror stories so far from what I've been hearing from people, is that some of the stuff coming in has not been reaching the customers. Some of the stuff coming in has been seized by customs or sent back. So that is just something to annotate as well. Just make sure you guys do your research, reach out to those groups, reach out to the Reddit groups, Facebook groups. I'm currently in the GHK Simoon Facebook group, and there's a lot of knowledge there about where certain things are being sent, and even third-party access, being able to ship your things with some security. So that's just something to be aware of. I paid, call it all said and done, about $600 for the rifle, minus attachments. And they did ship it very nicely. It came in kind of a standard box. I'm not going to go, this isn't an unboxing, so I'm not going to go over that. But it got here, regardless to say, and yeah, so far, been good. Alrighty, so appearance. I opened up a window here to try to get some natural light. It does not seem to be working really too well. We don't get really a lot of light up here in the Pacific Northwest, so you'll have to excuse the lack of natural light. Like, I wanted to really highlight some of the colors. Right away, one of the first things that people are kind of drawn to when it comes to Block II platformed colorings and appearances is the rail, the Daniel Defense rail. And just to kind of compare, it's very, very close. The rail is extremely close to a real Daniel defense. And of course, it helps to actually have a real Daniel defense to compare to. But as you can annotate, the real Daniel defense is actually a little bit darker. And from what I've heard, real Daniel defense rails, it kind of depends on the anodization. If you actually get a darker colored rail or a lighter colored rail. So far, what I've learned about real Block II rails is that they usually are darker. I haven't really seen a lot of lighter colored Daniel defense rails. So that's just something to kind of be aware of when it comes to the coloring. Another thing to annotate here is kind of the profile of the barrels. One thing that makes the Block II FSP special is the barrel itself is a SOCOM heavy barrel, and GHK really hit a home run when it came to the profile of the barrel. They did really capture that thicker barrel on that aspect. Another thing to annotate really quickly is the coloring of the attachments. I won't go too into depth with those, but I will give you kind of an overview. Just these are very common with China reproduction model EOTechs, red dots, flashlights, PECs. They usually are off colored like this, and that's just due to, Chinese reproduction quality. So like you'll see on the EOTech and the WMX 200, those shades of tan are going to be a little bit different. I don't have a PEC to compare. I'm sorry. I wish I wasn't as poor, but alas, no PEC. So I'll kind of cover those here in a little bit. So one of the most important aspects of this entire video is the feel of the rifle. When I got this, I did expect it to feel completely solid. I really wanted it to feel like something when I pick it up. It has that weight, it has that feel. It's very important when you're LARPing and when you're trying to translate some of the mechanics over from a real firearm to a BB gun. So that being said, everything on this just feels excellent. When I actuate the bolt carrier group, when I change the mag, when I use the fire selector, everything just feels extremely solid. The play in between the rail, the play in between the upper and the lower receiver, the stock, there's not a lot of wobble. No third pin. This weapon is safe and clear. Obviously more snappy. Mag is empty. And here's the fake EOTech. And the real EOTech. There's a little bit of glass warping on the fake one, I've noticed. This is the -2 version on the fake one, which you'll see has that extra dot below. And that's just for ballistic purposes. And my EXPS 3-0 does not have that. So, upgrade for the real boy soon. And here's that Surefire. Wasden light. and of course the functioning PEC. I wanted this rifle to be as close to the real feel as possible, and I think I accomplished it, and I definitely think GHK accomplished it. So what is my first impression? Well, I think GHK put out an immaculate product. This rifle feels amazing, and it looks good. Everything from the coloring, to the build, to the casting, everything with this rifle clicks. Again, guys, this isn't a review. This is just purely a first impression. Once I actually get some gameplay going, I'll be able to tell you guys how it performs and even some of the enhancements I plan on making and that might direct your decision making in the future. So if you guys have any other questions or you guys want to see something later down the road when I do the review, just leave me a comment, and I always answer questions no matter what. I'm not even asking you guys to subscribe. This is purely informational. So I'll catch you guys on the next video.